I'm sure maybe the world would have taken a different turn. What do you think?
Yes, it would have been like, wow, if you're blind from the beginning,
Mm,
it may not make much difference. You will just be living a world of imagination. But it gets too difficult to appreciate when you have appreciated
good.
it for some
Some
time and
time,
then it happens, which is the reason and significance of the World Sight Day.
yeah. Okay, that's pretty interesting. If you're just joining us, remember that World Sight Day, in commemoration of World Sight Day, which according to Dr. Mba is the second Thursday in the
Of
month of October,
October.
and this happens to be the second Thursday in the month of October 2023. Now, I think a lot of us pay particular attention to other things and not that much attention to our eyes. I
Yeah.
think the only time some of us will pay attention to our eyes would be probably for us women. Let me speak for ourselves. When it's time for beautification,
Yeah.
they used to put on tints, on colors, on lashes, and all of that. I think that's the only time we pay that much attention. Or maybe if we find something that's sort of off about the eyes. But aside that, we just go about our normal lives. So, which ways do you think the World Sight Day should be encouraged? Because if you're encouraging the World Sight Day, you're automatically encouraging care or care for the eyes as well.
Yes.
So, in which ways do you think that the World Sight Day can be encouraged?
Okay. So, as it is now, first off, even as we are discussing right now, is a kind of creating awareness, passing information to the public. So, advocacy is one of them, very important. Eye care professionals in different organizations are supposed to liaise with governments in their own institutions too in the formulation of policies that will encourage the public to to have this awareness that it is quite important for them to take care of their eyes, for them to be in the know as it has to do with eye health, not only waiting, especially as it is in this our own part of the world. It seems to be that we see that need to, have this awareness of even take steps to care for our eyes when there is an emergency. So it shouldn't be that way because 80% of blindness or causes of blindness are preventable. And so if this awareness is there, if this synergy is there between eye care professionals and governments, even in the making of policies, it will quite be pertinent and also be viewed by the citizens as important to take care of their eyes. And if they have this awareness and also move it to the next level of practicing it, then it will bring down to a very large extent the possibility of this preventable blindness happening or occurring in our lives.
Interesting.
Yeah. Secondly, we can also, based on such synergies, organize campaigns, organize what we call town hall meetings, especially at the community level. In town here, there are many other ways one can be opportune to have this information. But in our rural areas, that's where I think the burden is actually felt because most of the times, ignorance, negligence play a big role. And most of the times they tell you, maybe that's just fate. Maybe that's just the way God wants it. And like we have seen this situation, for the most part, being preventable, when they resort to such belief, you find out that situations that would have been prevented will just be allowed to, truncate people's life. And at the end of the day, the burden still falls to those who don't have this and maybe are in town or those they call the breadwinners or they depend on. And even the government will feel the burden too because if we believe that if my brother is in trouble, so will I be too, then the more these incidences go on, so also the burden will be on the government and those they call the breadwinners or the dependents. So through advocacy, through organization of campaigns, town hall meetings, liaising with most of these NGOs to provide this awareness and also provide materials that can prevent blindness for those who already have eye issues will go a long way in ameliorating the situation and also alleviating the life of people affected.
All right, we need to go on a commercial break now. And when we come back, the conversation continues. It's still Mind, Body, and Soul on your number one station for talk. And we're talking healthcare in connection with World Sight Day. Stay tuned to us.
For more talk, news.
Welcome back to Mind, Body, and Soul and the conversation I care in connection with World Sight Day today. Now, we've looked at what it is, the World Sight Day. We've talked about the significance of the day. And Dr. Mba, before we went on the break, was talking about how World Sight Day can be encouraged. He mentioned advocacy. He mentioned more awareness and all of that. Dr. Mba, before we move forward, do you have anything more to add to that?
Yes.
Okay.
In the course of the advocacy, even in as we use the opportunity to hold these awareness campaigns via town hall meetings, especially, like I said, in the rural areas.
Yeah.
I talked about having the synergies with NGOs, well-to-do individuals in the societies. Some of the politicians, they cash in into this to organize programs in their environments, provide free eye test exercises. And it will surprise you that most of the times during such programs, a lot of discoveries are made. Most people there would be people who have actually been believing God that one day their eye issues will be taken care of. And it comes like a miracle. For some of them, it will be like, wow, just this program that was organized, through it, what I have been experiencing for some years has just been taken care of. So that's why I said organizing such campaigns in the rural, my emphasis is really in the rural environment. Our rural communities, our parents there are really passing through tough times, and they tend to give attention to maybe let the stomach be full first before they start talking about the eyes. So well-meaning individuals can cash in into this to give back to nature, to give back to the society, by synergizing with eye care professionals in providing these facilities there, so that we can take this program close to them and make it available for their own good. Yes, then collaboration between eye care professionals equally and NGOs like Lion Club, Rotary Club. They actually do a lot, especially during this time. They synergize with us in still providing this kind of programs, and they make a lot of effort in also reaching out to those in the hinterland. So very, very, very important that we can have this collaboration and extend it to lay emphasis on those who are really in the rural communities.
All right, I think this is the part now that is important to most of our listeners, if not all of them. As one who understands the importance of the eyes, I mean, I have seen people's lives come to a standstill because they lost their eyesight. In fact, it's I don't think there's for most of the professions it comes with, I mean, you have to have your eyes functioning. Yes, I know that due to the advancement of technology, provisions have been made for, you can't see but you can hear. There are ways, and there's the braille. There are other provisions that have been made for those who are visually impaired. However, I think I clamor more for prevention. You know how they say prevention is indeed better than cure. So it will be nice if you help highlight some ways or measures, or advice on ways and measures that the public can, explore in order to enjoy good eye health. So they don't get to that point where
it becomes an emergency.
It becomes an emergency, exactly. And when it becomes an emergency, then it starts to cost a whole lot more. The malaria that you did not treat today now gets to a point where they are rushing you to the hospital and all of that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so there are many steps we can take. First, I will indicate that we know our health status.
Know your health status, okay?
Yes. Some of the eye conditions that could take us unawares are hereditary.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
And if we are not in the know of our health status at any particular point, some of these conditions may just lie quiet, and then boom, you just realize that something is happening. And because of our belief system, most of us will always look at it from the angle that somebody is pursuing somebody.
It's called village people.
So, because of that, instead of even spending time, even after you've realized something is going on, instead of spending time to take care of what's the finding out what the situation is, you spend a whole lot of time trying to find out who is pursuing who. Take, for example, a case of glaucoma. Glaucoma has caused a very high percentage of blindness in our population. And glaucoma, one of its characteristics is that it is hereditary. It is called the silent thief of man's vision. The major reason for that name or nickname is because, for the most part, it will be quiet, not presenting any obvious sign or symptom. So by the time you realize that your vision has obviously changed, it will imply that the glaucoma has also caused great damage. And unfortunately, any damage caused by glaucoma is irreversible.
Wow.
Yes. But if you know your health status, The best approach it out just when it is early, because the strategy of the professional will be to save that which he meets, but cannot recover that which has been damaged. Take, for example, somebody who has or predisposed to hypertension, to diabetes. Yes, hypertension and diabetes, they are systemic conditions. But if you don't know your status, if you don't know that it's even you're predisposed to it, when affected by it, and God forbid, the possibility of taking care of managing it is not there. It gets so serious that it begins to affect your sight. But if that knowledge is there, it is possible that precautionary measures could be taken such that it will be under good control and prevented from affecting your sight. So it is very important for us to always know our health status vis-a-vis our eye health status too. 2, our lifestyle. Most of us, for young men, especially those who enjoy cliques, smoking.
You were sub men.
Smoking, drinking, consumption of a lot of alcohol. Initially, we see it as a kind of pride. Initially, we see it as an expression of youthful exuberance. But in the course of life, the chemical content of these substances, they have a way of affecting our bodies and affecting even what we call the optic nerve of the eye that connects the eye to the brain. And then, as time goes on, it affects our eyes, our sight, to the point that our environment will not be as beautiful as it used to be. So some of these things, granted the way they can be advertised, the way that, youthful exuberance can encourage us to indulge in, we should also know that there is always a high price to pay in the future, even as we continue to consume them. The kind of food we eat. The economy of the country today, as it were, has made it such that most people will tell you, forget about the content. Let the stomach be full first.
Yes.
So we eat and lay emphasis on quantity, not on quality. It is advisable that we eat food that contains substances that can encourage good eye health. The fruits, the veggies are always good to our eye health. But like I said, the economy of the country is being given as an excuse to why that cannot be considered. But I think if we look at it from the other way around, when we say the quality, with good understanding, I think we can find a way, even if we're not doing it on a daily basis, but we can have it in mind. And once you have it in mind, there is a way that God will always help us. They say whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe in, the mind of a man can achieve it. So once you lay emphasis on it and you see it as important, you will fight to make sure that it becomes part of your diet. This is exactly what World Sight Day is also about, that awareness. For most of us, the awareness is not there, so they don't even lay emphasis on the kind of food they want to eat. Yes. Now, going forward, still about our lifestyle, based on this information, whenever somebody is seen with a pair of glasses, just like you did indicate, it could be the person is doing guy or maybe is medicated. But generally, it is advisable for us to always protect our eyes, especially from these ultraviolet rays. I give you a case in point. Whenever you hear that the Earth will be experiencing, or this part of the world will be experiencing eclipse of the sun or the moon, if you watch our international medias, you see that our counterparts in the other part of the world, they use specialized goggles to watch this incident. But in our own part of the world, my mom will tell you to bring out a big basin of water and then gather all of us to be looking with our unaided eyes directly into the water, seeing the moon and the sun fight. The radiations that are coming out from this incident, of course, we don't feel them, but they're happening and setting the tone for that which will take place in the future. Right? So, again, our belief system, sometimes, even if you see those who would want to take these measures, there's this, what is wrong with your eyes? Always putting on glasses, always putting on glasses. Is it that something is wrong or so? So, we based on this awareness, based on this advocacy, we are supposed to make our people to know that it is not just for us to look at it from the negative side of it. We need to look at it from the positive side of it. They say a stitch in time saves nine. So if we have that, if we develop that culture, then you see that for the most part, those who will be putting on glasses will be like just on the basis of prevention.
Prevention, okay.
Yes. Okay. So it's very, very important that we look at it from that angle to not just that this person, something is going on with that person. Yes. Then, just like I also did indicate, today the white collar job is the order of the day. In those days, those in the agricultural sector, I would say they were more in number than it is today. Currently, everything is about the white collar job, it's about the office, it's about, I just want to be in the office. So, the white man has noticed that we are crazy about gadgets. Look at your phone. By next year, they will manufacture that same phone and just change the shape of that phone or the size, and they give it another number, another name. And because they know you're going to abandon that one for the next version of it, they are interested in producing, knowing fully well that we are crazy in consuming. For it, yeah. Right? So they have also come up with something, trying to come up with measures that can protect us to an extent from the radiations that all these devices produce. Right? So with the awareness, we should know that there are measures we can take. Even as we get so addicted in using these phones, I don't stay with you, but I can accuse you that the last thing you touch before you go to bed is your phone. And once you wake up in the morning, the first thing you touch is likely your phone. So once you on it, that beam or light that will just be emitted from the screen. But every item you use here, they all emit radiations. And because maybe that awareness is not there, we feel nothing is happening, but something is happening. With the awareness, we can now be using protective devices in the form of glasses, but the kind of lens that will be there, like we have the photochromic anti-reflective lenses, we have the photochromic anti-reflective blue cut lenses. These are some of the lenses that, even as you use them, whether you have a refractive error or you don't have, it's going to play a protective role and prevent the eyes from absorbing these harmful radiations that will set the tone for some of the conditions one is prone to experience in the course of life if those protective devices are not there. Yes. So with some of these measures, based on the awareness, if we put them in practice, to a very large extent, we will still even enjoy a higher standard of living, enjoy life the more, enjoy life longer, our sight in particular being the focus in our discussion.
All right. Now, you said quite a lot. I would like to open the phone lines at this point. Yeah. I believe some of the listeners have questions and possible contributions as well. I see some WhatsApp messages already, and I will read them in course of the conversation. 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. Once again, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. Now, before I go to some of the messages here, I would like to ask Dr. Amba, what are some of the common eye problems that we experience in this part of the world?
Okay, so it depends on the age bracket. But let me pay emphasis on our parents, adults. Cataract is one of the most common eye conditions that we observe in our environment. And just like I said, because that awareness is not there, because that information is not there, they pay more attention to who caused it than to what should be done. So cataract is one of those conditions of the eye that could happen as a result of the aging process. However, it's not just the aging process that causes it. It causes just one type of cataract. We have different types of cataract.
Interesting.
But as it concerns the World Sight Day, paying attention to that awareness on the importance of the eye. Let me give you a case in point. A 28-year-old young boy who is a welder. This young man will be representing those in the welding section, right? Most of them, they do their welding job without any protective device. And they tell you that they have been doing it for a long time, so they have gotten used to it. The radiations coming out from their activities will so affect the eye that pretty soon a young man can develop cataract too. A young man can develop eye conditions that ordinarily, by mere using a protective device in doing that same work, would have prevented him from that which, when it happens, will, so affect him that that job might be at stake. And whether you like it or not, if this person happens to be an employee, the moment you are not giving what is expected of you, whether you like it or yes, your days will be numbered and somebody will replace you. So cataract is one of those conditions that affect our parents so much so that if this awareness is well emphasized and the information made to be around them always, there are precautionary measures that could be taken. Either the time the cataract will show up will be postponed quite well, or those it will affect when they are in their young age, it will also not be at that particular time. Second, we have glaucoma. I've tried to mention glaucoma as we were discussing. Now, glaucoma is a hereditary condition, but there is also a kind of glaucoma that is not hereditary, it's just induced. You have maybe a fight, you are involved in a struggle, or something hits your eye accidentally. Now, the possibility of that impact increasing the pressure of the eye could be there. This is a situation that will be resolved within 48 hours if that person has that awareness, has that understanding that with what has happened, I just need to visit an eye clinic. But the person could resort to faith. The person, yes, could be affected by his economy, but at that point, if that person has the right information, the person could just take that bold step, walking first into the eye clinic to know exactly what is going on. That will make the person become proactive and want to take measures that will prevent what we call secondary glaucoma. Secondary glaucoma here will be a glaucoma that has been induced as a result of the impact of what happened, maybe the heat or the blow or the impact on the eye. And there is a possibility that person will lose that eye.
Okay. All right. This message is from Melody in Port Harcourt. Good afternoon, Denise and the Dr. Mba. So glad for this conversation. I'm a student and I have this challenge with my eyes. If I read for a long time, my vision will become blur and I would start tearing up. I wouldn't be able to continue except I stop for some time. And even if I continue later, the problem will continue and it affects my exams. So please, what could be the problem or what can I do?
All right, so based on what we are discussing, awareness, information, reaching out have become the emphasis. Now, for most people who experience blurry vision, there are two possibilities there. One could be what we call a refractive cause. Two could be a pathological cause or a disease condition. Now, let's pay attention to the refractive cause. Now, for the refractive cause, the mechanism of vision indicates that once you look at an object, the object will emit light into your eyes. The light will carry the information of the object into your eyes, then to your brain. Your brain will analyze the information, forms the image, and then project it back to your eye. There's a particular part of the eye we call the retina, which will act as the screen of the eye. Now, should that projected image paste on that screen or the retina, you are good to go. Your vision will be distinct, real, and effortless. However, there are possibilities where that image will not paste on that screen. So when the projected image fails to paste on that screen, we say the person has a refractive error. If it pastes in front, we say the person is short-sighted or myopic. Distant objects will be an issue. If it pastes behind, we say the person is hyperopic or long-sighted. Near objects will be an issue. The person, it could paste in front, but instead of pasting just at a point, it will paste on multiple points, in which case it can affect both distant and near vision. In that case, we say the person has or experiencing what we call astigmatism. Now, whatever the case is, the first step Melody is supposed to take is to visit the eye clinic with an open mind. After examination, the cause of that experience will be determined. And they say any issue that is well understood and known is already 65% solved. So the moment it is determined, the doctor, of course, will explain to him what to do. And if it has to do with a refractive cause, Melody will be issued a pair of ophthalmic corrective lenses. And he will just realize that even in the course of the examination, that there's just this piece that will come. There's this burden that will be lifted off his head. And at the end of the day, it will be like, whoa, this thing works like magic. Because of this question, I just want to add, for those who do a lot of paperwork, a lot of screen work, it is advisable that we obey what we call the 20/20 rule. So while you're looking at the screen, while you're reading your book, while your eyes are engaged, it is advised or indicated that every 20 minutes, you just get your eyes off your target for 20 seconds, looking at an imaginary object that you cannot really say this is what I'm looking at. But if you have space, you just assume you're looking at infinity so that the eyes can relax, so that the eyes can recover. That's what we call it the 20/20 rule. After 20 minutes, I relax the eye for 20 seconds, looking at an object at infinity or 20 feet away from you.
All right, someone says, good afternoon, Didi and Doc. Please, does contact lenses damage the eye?
Categorically, we will not say yes, because contact lens is just another form of corrective measure to take care of what we call refractive error. These refractive errors that I have just mentioned. Some people, for reasons personal, they don't like putting on conventional frames. And these conventional frames will be the items we use in fitting the corrective lenses. So, for people who don't like that option, we provide contact lenses for them. And these contact lenses also bear the prescriptions they will need. So, it's another form of corrective lenses. However, there are rules. Just like even the conventional lenses. So these rules, at the end of the day, if you are such that can obey those rules, then we will say there is a high degree of possibility that you can really accommodate using contact lenses. Where not, instead of the contact lenses being something useful to you, it will become a burden. Just one important rule I want to indicate here. No matter how hygienic you are, the moment you make up your mind to use contact lenses, you just have to step up your degree of being hygienic. It will add up if you are a lady. It will add up. It will be an additional item to your cosmetic box. And this item is such that you'll be playing around it regularly, depending on the kit or the kind of contact lens you will be using. But for the most part, your hands might be touching them. So if that emphasis is not well laid on cleanliness, then there's a possibility of infection being involved. And once that happens, the contact lens won't be useful again to you.
Okay, I think we have roughly 3 more minutes, so let's see how we can quickly answer this question. I think it's a lot similar to Melody's question. Good afternoon, Nigeria Info. I noticed that when I read for a long time, tears start coming out from my eyes, though my vision doesn't blur, but I see clear even in a very low light, and I'm allergic to sunlight. Henry C. sent that in.
Okay, so we've talked about refractive errors. If Henry did listen well to that explanation, he can draw strength from it too.
Please, can constant use of sunshade affect the eyes? Festus Wogo send that in.
No. Sunshade is one of the precautionary measures. The only caveat to it is that, for the most part, what we call a sunshade is just tinted lens, and that tinted lens, it only creates an ambience. It just creates an impression that the environment would not be as bright as it used to be. But if we use the radiation indicators we use in knowing lenses that can block or prevent these harmful radiations from passing through, you see that the radiations will just pass through that so-called sunshade. So most times, if it is not a shade that is particularly designed to prevent the passage of these harmful radiations, then it will still be affecting the person.
All right, because we are pressed for time, the conversation has to come to an end. Thank you so much, Dr. Mbaike from Nigeria Opthometrics Association, for your time. We really do appreciate this.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, sadly, that brings us to the end of the conversation and also the end of the sunny side today. Final words before we leave.
Next to life, God's most precious gift is sight. Let us pay whatever price it will cost us to enjoy good sight. Let us take care of our eye health. Thank you.
Thank you too. Follow us on all social media handles: on X at Nigeria Info PH, Facebook page is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH, and on Instagram and Thread Nigeria Info. FM_PH. Follow me on Threads and no, not on Threads, on Instagram and on X at _Denise_Dennis. Follow my Facebook page, Denise Dennis, and follow my Facebook account, Denise Dennis Wall. I'll be back here same time tomorrow, 12 noon to 3 p.m. on the sunny side. Up next is Rivers Today, and thereafter Hard Facts with Kadako Rubatwa. To enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Adios.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity.